Tower control is it's really dependent on, you know, pushing the teams out of the middle of the map and actually forcing them to play inside the enemy's territory, which definitely makes this map a lot more fun to watch. You're going to see a lot of back and forth on this map as opposed to some of the other tower control maps, just because of the way that the map is designed with where you need to push the tower. It's really easy, similar to Muscle Forge Fitness, to stop the enemies from pushing that tower too far into your base.
All right, going in on game one here between Team Olive and Creme Fraiche. Let's see what each team brought to the table in terms of weapon combs. I already see 2 Ink Armor weapons for both teams. Looks like Olive running an N-Zap and a Tri-Slosher, while Creme Fraiche running 2 N-Zaps. I'm seeing some swim speed and some tenacity on the side of Creme Fraiche, so they're going to be looking to get to that tower as quickly as possible. The N-Zap has just a bunch of strafing and movement capabilities. It's a very fun weapon to use, and it's a nice shooter to bring to the table.
And dropping the Tri-Slosher for the N-Zap is actually a really interesting choice to me. I feel like they probably did it because of the suction bombs on tower control. Suction bombs on tower control are probably a lot more useful than splat bombs when you're trying to get people off the tower. And the thing with that weapon is that 2 suction bombs on both sides of the tower, as long as they're placed right, actually completely makes it so that anybody on the tower needs to get off unless they want to explode. So that could be the strategy that they're going for, or maybe they're just more comfortable with the N-Zaps. You know, it's a new game, lots of new strategies coming up from these teams.
Map control looking relatively split. Olive starting to gain some momentum here. Of course, Creme Fraiche, I heard a lot of people joke about one of the requirements to be on Creme Fraiche is that you have to main a charger in some respect. They're a very charger-heavy team. They have multiple sniper mains that are regarded as some of the best in the Western scene, and Brian is going to be here for them in this game, running that Firefin splatter scope, which we've seen a bunch in this tournament, either in the scoped or unscoped variant. Heaven, unfortunately, going to get flanked around there by Dude, and this map does, despite it's not that many obstacles in the middle part of the map, is going to have a lot of flanking potential here. Dude gonna have to try and reposition himself to get this inkjet off, but the tower not really moving yet. They're trying to really set a precedence and get some map control early on before they push the tower.
You know, he got that kill with the inkjet at the end, but even if he didn't, that was actually still really key for his team, because they were pushing the tower while he was up there with that inkjet, and he knocked the sniper off of their sniping tower, and that's pretty much what they need to do if they want to get an easy push on that tower. The Chargers, I definitely think that the tower control is the Chargers' best mode right now, because of just how good they are at getting people off of the tower. And speaking of tower, Olive looking really strong right now, pushing up to the second checkpoint just 2 minutes into the game, down to 20 points. They're working on that checkpoint. This map only actually has, oh sorry, there's 3 checkpoints, my bad. And wow, they're actually looking like it's going to be a knockout right now. Creme Fraiche just unable to push back out of that base and take out Team Olive. They had really good, strong composition. They did a good job pushing into the enemy side, and that's what they needed to win the game.
And Olive played that really smart, right? They got a bunch of map control and pushed Creme Fraiche all the way into their spawn before making any sort of big push on the tower, because if they had given Creme Fraiche even an inch, they would have taken it a mile. And so you have people like Dude just going in there, getting multiple inkjets off in a very short amount of time, and also getting a major kill, I believe, onto Heaven. As the Ink Armor was activating, it didn't fully activate yet, so that was a huge shutdown there, sending Heaven back to spawn and giving Creme Fraiche one less member to try and stop that tower. So that's going to be a huge precedent setter here in game number 1. That's going to give Olive a bit of confidence, say, okay, maybe we didn't have our best games against Set to Destroy X, but now we're a very strong team. We know what we're doing. We've been playing together for a long time. Let's see what we can do. Again, they didn't bring a sniper with them. They're still going to have to contend with Brian at the longer ranges, but with stuff like the Inkjet, I believe they were able to do that really well in game 1, and I'm excited to see how they do it in game number 2, which will be Rainmaker on the Reef.
Before we get into this match here, I'd just like to point out that both of the Japanese tournaments in this tournament, both the Japanese teams in this tournament, have just been knocked down to the losers bracket, which is probably a bit uncharacteristic of what our expectations were looking like. That's a story for another time. We got Rainmaker going on the Reef. Pretty interesting map and mode here. A lot of people don't like it. A lot of people do. Personally, I do like it. There's a lot of battles on, you know, in the streets on your side where there's a lot of slang happen, and there's also, you know, opportunities to push up from the main front side, and it's gonna make for some really fast-paced gameplay, lots of really quick decision making, which is what I like to see from these teams.
Yeah, I believe we saw this map and mode combination earlier in the tournament, and there was a huge fight over a minute long taking place over by the car on one side of the map.
This is a really good opportunity, and he said, hey boys, get over here, and then he called them over. They were really quick to respond to that call, and then they made a really good push in to get the knockout.
Unbelievable job there by Team Olive to push that one forward. So very, very quickly, they have already gotten a major lead, 2-0 here. This is not something I expect out of Creme Fraiche, and unfortunately, I think something might have happened with the stream to where they didn't get to see that miraculous push. So if that did happen, I'm so sorry about that. You guys missed one heck of a push. So I do apologize for that, but Olive looking to sweep through Creme Fraiche and secure a spot in day 2 in that top 8 spot. I did not in a million years think it would be this quick. The entirety of the focus for the objective is going to be centered on the middle part of the map. So looks like here Olive is going to be sticking with that sort of short to mid-range comp, not really expanding out too far past that. And on the side of Creme Fraiche, they're going to be sticking with that sniper and also bringing the rapid blaster. So 2 entirely different schools of thought, which will, I think, result in Olive taking the zone first.
For those who didn't see, it was Team Olive taking the last set over Creme Fraiche in that game that you guys unfortunately didn't see. It looks like the stream did go down for a bit, but we're back up. We do have a bit of a match going on right now. Muscle Forge Fitness, Splat Zones. Very weird engagement off the start. It looks like both teams dropped 2 players, but Creme Fraiche was able to get the push that they wanted into the middle of the map and take control of the zone despite it being an even trade.
Majin getting a great kill there onto Nike. You talk about rapid blaster players. Majin has been one of the foremost rapid blaster players ever since Splatoon 1. He mained it in that game as well as other blasters and just did absolute work with it before it was even really a thing. He sort of helped establish it in the community, and now that it's picked up a little more steam in Splatoon 2, he's kind of carrying Creme Fraiche here to try and get the zone back. They were able to get it for a little bit. Team Olive has since gotten it back and has ticked through their penalty. But Kurage here, one of the NZAPs doing what NZAPs do best, which is build up that ink armor incredibly fast. Aside from the Splattershot Jr., it's one of the fastest weapons in building up that ink armor. So I think that's what they're trying to bank on, building it up really quickly so that they can win their 1v1 engagements and get the zone.
How often do we see Sendo on the Octobrush? I think this is my first time seeing it. Is
not
this a regular
often
thing?
At all.
Yeah.
So with the Octobrush tick up in popularity, I'm not surprised to see that. It turfs pretty well, and it 1v1s pretty well in addition to that. So Sendo trying to pick a pretty nice weapon here for this map and mode combination, but he's pretty stuck there in blue ink, so he's not going to get very far.
And we do have Creme Fraiche looking like they're going to maybe take this control back. They're getting some really, really good, important kills onto Team Olive right now in order to take the lead here. 3 points left to grab it, and there it is. They've got the lead. If Olive want to get back into this, they got to deal with a 40-point penalty. That's just as big as their actual score, which is going to be really difficult for them, especially because the timer's still ticking on the side of Creme Fraiche.
This is
Special's
huge
coming off. Sendo, look what they can do.
Oh my gosh, Sendo trying to pop this inkjet. He's looking for 2 that are on the zone. He's not going to be able to find anybody, so great defense there from Creme Fraiche. This is giving them a huge bolster and confidence as well. Majin has to back off to try and retain the zone. They lose it at 9. They haven't been given a penalty yet. He walks into a suction bomb, but they keep the zone in all that time.
And there's the penalty, 69 points going on to the side of Creme Fraiche. But let me tell you, Creme Fraiche did such a good job controlling that hill, even in the midst of the Team Olive push. They did unfortunately lose the team fight, and that's what caused Olive to actually get control there, but they did a really, really good job. And actually, again, stealing control from them with the use of that suction rush on the Fire Fin. Amazing job coming out from Creme Fraiche to deal with all this powerhouse plays right now.
Yeah, Splat Zone's definitely the most different of all 3 of the competitive modes here. It's not a moving objective here, so you really have to play around the center of the map. And with these penalties, it gives each team a chance to sort of come back, even if they're this far behind. So Creme Fraiche is pushed all the way up to 5, but Olive still has a lot of a chance here and plenty of time to do it. Just under 2 minutes. Dude able to outduel Heaven there and is going to try and use these walls here to shark around and make sure that Creme Fraiche cannot come back from spawn. This, just like most other maps in Splatoon 2, you can get spawn camped on pretty easily if the other team has that map control.
And wow, Team Olive has actually did a really, really good job dealing with that 40-point penalty here. There's a fight for the mid. They need to keep this control if they want to win. They cannot deal with another penalty right now. There's only a minute and a half left in the game. There's the penalty. This is bad for Olive. Creme Fraiche, though, in a really good spot. They're trying to do what they can. This middle fight's still going on. Olive down 1 player, doing what they can to keep in this match right now, but they're getting pushed. Fuzzy with the Tri-Slosher, unable to stay alive. Nike taking out the Slayer, though. these fights are crazy. There's so much back and forth going on, but Team Creme Fraiche is the team that's able to stay out on top with control of the zone right now. dealing with this penalty, although they don't really have to. There's only a minute left in the game. They've got 5 points on the board. They're in a really, really good spot because of Team Olive's 49-point penalty. All they got to do is stall them out, which is they're doing a really good job at right now. And I think I spoke too soon. They're done with this penalty. They might get the knockout right here.
This is going to be huge. Creme Fraiche needs to play a little bit of Protect the President there for Brian, which it looks like they're going to, and they will take the win. Brian, if anything did happen, had that Suction Bomb Rush at the ready, so as long as he was alive, I don't think Olive would have been able to come back anyway, because he could have just popped his special, and bada bing, bada boom, the zone is back and capped for Creme Fraiche. But that's going to be a tough loss there for Team Olive, who was hoping to sweep through Creme Fraiche. Now Creme Fraiche getting a little bit of momentum back on the back of people like Majin with 4 bomb rushes and Brian with 5. So those 2 bomb rush weapons coming in absolutely huge for Creme Fraiche, who now has a little bit of life breathed back into them.
So we do have Team Olive up in this set 2-1 on Creme Fraiche. We're going into game 3. It's going to be Tower Control, Mori Towers. Tower Control, Mori Towers. Honestly, I hate this mode. I think it's awful. It's probably just because I play most short-range shooters and, you know, it's just hard for me. But what can you tell me about Tower Control on Mori Towers, and how are these teams going to play it?
Of course, just like any other map in Splatoon 2 for Tower Control, you're going to have to worry about those checkpoints. Now, of course, this is a very different map in that the streets are very long and narrow winding paths as opposed to just one big surface that you can ink, so teams will have to play a lot more carefully. People can sit on the high ground, especially people like Brian, so Olive will have to be incredibly careful with Brian bringing in that Firefin Charger. He's going to be a huge player in when they don't have the tower, picking people off of it, and when they do have the tower, just right-peeking on it and taking people out that are trying to get to the tower. That Suction Bomb Rush, as you mentioned, I think, in one of the earlier games, Suction Bomb's so nice to have on Tower Control, and for this map, it really has to start with you taking control of mid. You don't need to try and push the tower too early on. Wait for those 2 or 3 down situations, because on this map, it takes a good amount of time to get from your spawn back to the middle of the map, and you can get some major pushes that way.
Right, that's exactly what these people are going to be doing. Mori Towers is definitely a map that is all about winning the team fights, and you definitely want to find those picks in order to get those pushes, just specifically because of how long it actually takes you to get back to the middle of the map. Tower Control especially, if you look at where those knockout points are, even off of a respawn, you've still got quite a ways to go in order to defend the tower if it's at, say, 20 points. And that's exactly what the teams are going to be trying to do here in order to secure this victory. Remember, Creme Fraiche, all they need is 1 win here to tie up the set, and after that, it's going into game 5. That game is gonna decide it. But Team Olive is looking to cash in right now in this game here.
Couple of things to point out in terms of weapon changes here. We see Brian, who we're spectating currently, on the E-Leader. The E-Leader kind of falling out of favor here in Splatoon 2, being 2v1 right now, and unfortunately not able to find the tap shots. And Dude also on the Splattershot Pro. Both of those weapons have one thing in common, which is that they have the InkStorm, oddly named enough, as their special weapon. And that special is going to not only give you turret control, but I think a lot of people don't realize that the InkStorm can damage you quite a bit with Fuzzy here now on this Inkjet, and it's going to jump back to the tower here. Team Olive doing a good job of pushing so far.
Ooh, but Brian doesn't like people on the tower, and let me tell you, the Chargers, as I said before, their best vote, in my opinion, is definitely Tower Control, because they can really find those picks on the tower, especially on a map like Mori Towers, where they can do it from a relatively safe spot. And that's what we saw there. This push for Team Olive probably would have been down to the 30s by now if it wasn't for that really good pick from Brian's side.
And I think that's why Brian brought the E-Leader, partially because of the InkStorm, but partially because it does have that longer range that the Firefin just can't manage. It can reach all the way to the opposing street. It can pick people off from the tower, even if you're on that second elevated street area. So it gives you just a lot more options, and it can keep you a lot safer. We're now jumping on this Nike here on the Zenzap. He's trying to take down Majin. Majin's able to get away, and now we have 2 down on the side of Creme Fraiche, so this could allow for Olive to push back again, although Creme Fraiche doing a good job of maintaining map control in mid. That's going to be a huge step in making sure this game goes their way.
Creme Fraiche actually dropped down 3 players there. One was on the respawn, and it looks like Team Olive is doing what they can to get some map control back here. Dude looking for the flank, looking for the opportunity. He's waiting. He sees Heaven. He's going for it. The armor came up at the perfect time. Really good communication. He was able to get the kill on Heaven before the armor came up. That's 3 down on the side of Creme Fraiche. They're going to keep pushing that tower. It's already down to 30 points, and they're still on the respawn. This could actually be a knockout.
Fuzzy now coming in, trying to get the hits on the Kurage. Knows Majin is behind that wall. Tries to get anyone that might be jumping down from spawn, but is not quite going to find it. They will still force a 2-down situation on the side of Creme Fraiche. They're so close to that tower point.
Some trades going down. 3 people still down. Dude able to ride the tower to the end there.
Oh my gosh, and they will do it. Team Olive gonna wrap this one up in a knockout, backing Creme Fraiche up, just making sure that they did not hardly even leave their spawn. And Team Olive gonna win and move on to top 8. They will take their next match on tomorrow in Losers Round 3. Congratulations to them. Meanwhile, Creme Fraiche unfortunately knocked out of the tournament, but they still had a very, very good showing in InkStorm Plus.
And so we got an update for the rest of the losers bracket games for you guys. Team Olive taking out Creme Fraiche 3-1. They're going to be securing their spot in the losers bracket. Other than that, we have Almost Kids and No Fear going at it right now. They're still 0-0 on Smash GG, and maybe we can get an update on that. Deep Blues and Serenity. Serenity